night was unnaturally still, the kind of silence that pressed against Adam's ears until he could hear his own pulse racing. He walked to the edge of the woods, drawn by a scream that had torn through the air only seconds before. The sound had been sharp, human, and filled with terror, but now only the faint rustle of leaves whispered back. Adam muttered, "It came from here. I'm not imagining it." His breath fogged in the cold night air, and every shadow between the trees seemed to twist and stretch. A low creak echoed from deeper inside, like wood breaking under weight, and he froze. He wanted to turn back, but his feet carried him forward. Then came the whisper, soft, too close, too wrong. It called his name. His heart pounded as if trying to escape his chest, and his body trembled under the weight of dread. Adam stood frozen, trying to steady his breath as silence pressed down harder than any scream could. The whisper had faded, but its echo still throbbed in his skull. He muttered, "It said my name. I heard it." His rational mind clawed for explanation, but no thought could soothe the terror tightening his chest. The woods shifted as if alive, branches groaning like aching bones. Behind him, the safe lights of his house glowed faintly, but he felt the distance stretch impossibly wide. A second creak echoed, closer this time. He spun, eyes scanning, but saw nothing. The darkness seemed to mock him, daring him to step further. His pulse roared in his ears, drowning all else, and in that suffocating moment, he knew he was no longer alone. The silence cracked again, this time with a faint crunch, deliberate, like footsteps in leaves. Adam whispered, "Someone's there." He raised his hands slightly, unsure if in defense or pleading. Shadows shifted, pulling tighter around his frame. He stepped back, boot pressing into damp soil, heart rattling like a drum. For a moment, he thought he saw a figure, tall, too thin, swaying between trees. But when he blinked, it was gone. His breath quickened, chest straining for air. "I can't stay here," he muttered, fear bleeding through his voice. Yet his feet betrayed him, dragging him deeper, as though pulled by invisible strings. Each step felt heavier, like the earth wanted to keep him here forever. Adam's mind screamed to run, but curiosity gnawed harder. He squinted, trying to pierce the shifting shadows. A sudden snap echoed like a bone breaking, and he jerked back, pulse spiking. "Not real. It's not real," he whispered, though his voice trembled with desperation. A chill brushed his neck, colder than the night air, making hairs rise like needles. He spun, but nothing stood there. The forest smelled wrong, sour, metallic, like blood rusting in the soil. His stomach churned, every instinct begging retreat, but pride forced him still. He clenched his fists, muttering, "If I run now, it wins." His eyes darted left, then right, each tree seeming to bend closer as if listening. The scream came again, ripping through the stillness like glass shattering. Adam staggered, his hands clamping to his ears, but it was inside his skull now, raw, guttural, human yet monstrous. He gasped, "Stop, please," as his knees buckled, pressing into wet soil. The sound faded as quickly as it came, leaving silence heavier than before. His chest heaved, sweat soaking his shirt. He looked up shaking, and swore he saw eyes glinting in the dark, two pale orbs floating just beyond the tree line. He blinked, and they were gone, swallowed by black. His heart sank as the realization set in. The woods weren't empty. Something waited, and it knew his name. Adam stumbled back into his yard, chest heaving, eyes flicking between the trees and his house, as though both threatened him. He muttered, "It followed me. I swear it followed me." Yet when he turned again, the woods loomed silent, their shadows swallowing every trace of movement. He forced himself inside, locking the door, pressing his back against it, as if wood and metal could keep the terror out. The faint ticking of the hallway clock sounded thunderous, each second dragging. He whispered, "No one would believe me." The scream still echoed in his skull, sharp as broken glass. He shut his eyes, willing it to fade. but behind the darkness he saw pale orbs glowing. He shuddered, whispering, "It knows me." Morning light filtered through thin curtains, but it felt weak, unable to banish the memory of last night. Adam sat at the kitchen table, hands trembling as he wrapped them around a coffee mug. His friend Michael, ever the rationalist, leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Michael said, "You were dreaming, man. Stress makes people hear things." Adam shook his head, muttering, "It wasn't a dream. I heard it." Michael's smirk faded slightly, though his tone remained dismissive. The woods creak, animals scream, brains make connections. Adam stared into his mug, knuckles white, thinking, animals don't whisper names. His stomach churned as silence settled, heavy with unspoken disbelief. Adam tried to laugh, tried to tell himself Michael was right, but the sound came out hollow. Michael tapped the counter impatiently. "You need sleep, not ghost stories." Adam stared at him, lips pressing tight. "I know what I heard. It called my name." Michael's eyes narrowed. "You want me to believe the forest is haunted?" Adam's hands trembled again, coffee rippling. He slammed the mug down harder than intended, muttering, "Something's out there." The sound rang sharp in the quiet kitchen. Michael shook his head, frustration in his voice. "Don't let the dark get in your head." Adam looked toward the window, shadows bending across the glass as though the woods leaned closer. Later that evening, Adam walked the hallway alone, each floorboard groaning like warning sighs. He froze as a faint scratching echoed from the back door, deliberate and slow. His breath quickened, hand hovering near the knob. He whispered, "Not again." The sound grew louder, a dragging scrape against wood. He clenched his jaw, forcing himself closer, body trembling. "If I open it, there's nothing," he muttered, trying to convince himself. His hand gripped the knob, cold and slick with sweat. The scratching stopped. Silence pressed harder. He yanked the door open, heart thundering, only to be met with empty night. The woods loomed, still and waiting. The air outside was thick with mist, curling like fingers reaching for his legs. Adam stepped onto the porch, scanning the yard. He muttered, "I know you're there." The silence replied with suffocating weight. Then a shape flickered at the tree line, too tall, too thin, swaying like broken branches. Adam's pulse spiked, and he stumbled back toward the door. "No, it's not real." The figure vanished, replaced by shifting fog. His body shook violently, but part of him knew this was only the beginning. He whispered, "It won't stop." The woods loomed, their silence louder than screams, and he realized he was being invited back inside their darkness. The house no longer felt safe. Every creak of the floor made Adam's nerves jolt. He sat in the living room, blinds drawn tight, staring at the shadows moving across the ceiling. The whisper had not returned, but the silence was worse, thick with expectation. He muttered, "It's waiting." His reflection in the darkened window seemed strange, eyes sunken, face pale. He pushed himself up, heart hammering, determined to prove to himself there was nothing outside. Yet when he drew closer to the glass, he saw movement, a fleeting shape darting behind the trees. His knees weakened, dread spreading cold fire through his veins. Adam pressed his forehead against the glass, squinting into the black. The yard was still, but his chest told him otherwise. A sudden scrape echoed outside, sharp against the siding. He staggered back, muttering, "Not again." He reached for his phone, fingers trembling, but no signal flickered to life. Panic surged. He whispered, "Why now?" The scrape grew louder, dragging across the wall like claws tracing lines. He clutched the phone tighter, useless in his hand. Fear weighed on him like chains. He stared at the window again, and for the briefest moment, two pale eyes reflected back at him from the dark. The scraping stopped, leaving silence that throbbed like a wound. Adam whispered, "It wants me outside." He backed away slowly, each breath jagged. The hallway groaned as though something heavy shifted upstairs. His stomach dropped. He knew he was alone, but the sound was deliberate. He forced his legs to move, each step shaky as he crept toward the stairs. "Please don't be real," he whispered, clutching the railing. The air grew colder with every step, his breath fogging in the hall. From above came a faint dragging, like something being pulled across the floor. His heart pounded. He whispered, "Who's up there?" He climbed slowly, every creak of the stairs amplifying his dread. At the top, the hallway stretched long and dark, doors yawning open like waiting mouths. The dragging sound had stopped, but the silence screamed louder. Adam whispered, "Don't look." Yet he looked, and in the farthest room, a figure stood faintly outlined. Too tall, limbs hanging wrong. His breath caught in his throat, body locking. The figure swayed, head tilting unnaturally, before vanishing as though swallowed by shadow. His stomach lurched, and he stumbled back, whispering, "It's inside." The words tasted like surrender, his fear carved deep. Adam's chest heaved as he backed toward his bedroom, legs trembling under the weight of fear. He slammed the door shut, pressing his body against it. Stay out, he whispered, teeth chattering. His eyes darted across the room, landing on the closet. The door creaked open by itself, slow, deliberate. He froze, lungs aching as he held his breath. From the dark inside came a whisper, low and guttural. Adam, his knees nearly gave way. The sound wasn't outside anymore. It was here, in the place he had once called safe. He realized the truth. Nowhere was safe now. Adam hadn't slept. The shadows crawled across his walls with each tick of the clock. He paced the living room, muttering, "It won't leave me alone." A sudden knock startled him, sharp against the door. His body froze, pulse pounding. He hesitated, then slowly opened it, half expecting to see pale eyes glaring back. Instead, an older man stood there, calm but grim. "You've seen it, haven't you?" the stranger asked. Adam's voice cracked. "What do you mean?" The man's eyes flickered to the woods. "It knows your blood." Adam's stomach dropped. He whispered, "Who are you?" The man simply replied, "Someone who has lived with it longer than you can imagine." Inside, the man sat stiffly at the table, eyes heavy with secrets. Adam sat across from him, hands trembling. "What do you know?" he demanded. The man's voice was calm, measured. "It was here long before your house was built. It takes those tied to this place." Adam's stomach churned, dread sinking deeper. "Why me?" The man's eyes narrowed. "Because it hunts lineage. Blood calls to it. And yours is louder than most." Adam recoiled, whispering, "My family." The man gave a slow nod. "The woods remember. The monster never forgets." Silence filled the room, thicker than the dark pressing at the windows. Adam's hands clenched the edge of the table, anger breaking through fear. "You knew this, and you let people die?" The man's eyes lowered. "I tried to warn them. No one listens until it's too late." Adam shook his head, chest tight. "It whispered my name." The man's gaze hardened. "Then it has chosen you. Once it speaks, it never stops until it gets what it wants." Adam's voice cracked. "What does it want?" The man's reply was soft, almost pitying. "You." The silence that followed felt suffocating. Adam's breath came sharp, realization slicing through him. This was never random. The man stood, pacing slowly, his trench coat brushing the floor. "There's something you need to see." He pulled a folded paper from his coat, an old photograph, yellowed and torn. Adam took it, hands shaking. The photo showed a group near the woods, decades ago. His breath caught as he recognized a younger version of his father among them. Beside him was the same man, now standing in his kitchen, unchanged except for time's wear. Adam stammered, This can't be." The man's voice was steady, carrying weight. "It began with your family, and it will end with your blood." Adam dropped the photo, horror sinking in. Adam's voice broke. "Why me? Why now?" The man leaned closer, his face shadowed. Because the woods are waking again. It never stops until it takes what it's owed. Adam shook his head, backing away. I can't fight this. The man's tone sharpened, cutting through the fear. You don't have a choice. It already marked you the moment it spoke your name. Adam felt the walls closing in, the windows rattling faintly as if the woods pressed against them. He whispered, "Then how do I survive?" The man's expression shifted, unreadable. That, Adam, depends on what you're willing to sacrifice. The night stretched heavy, pressing down on the walls. Adam sat at the table, clutching the old photo. His hands shook, but anger burned through fear. He whispered, "Why didn't my father tell me?" The owl's eyes narrowed, his silence weighted. Adam pressed harder. "You knew him. You stood beside him." The man sighed, voice grave. "Your father made a bargain with the woods. That's why it never took him." Adam's chest tightened. A bargain? The man's eyes flicked coldly to Adam. A sacrifice to keep it at bay. Adam's voice cracked, fury breaking. What did he give it? The reply chilled him. Your mother. The air seemed to collapse around him. Adam staggered up, chair scraping hard against the floor. You're lying, he hissed, voice trembling. The man didn't flinch. Truth doesn't care for your belief. Adam's throat tightened, breath coming fast. My mother died in an accident. The man's eyes sharpened. That's the story he gave you. The monster doesn't take without payment. Someone must always be offered. Adam's knees weakened, the world spinning. He gripped the table, muttering, No. He wouldn't. The man's silence screamed confirmation. Rage and despair twisted inside him, the woods' whispers echoing louder. A sharp knock rattled the door, urgent and uneven. Adam froze, heart pounding. Michael's voice rang out. Adam, open up. Relief mixed with dread. He stumbled to the door, fumbling with the lock. Michael stormed inside, eyes darting. You look like hell. What's going on? Adam's voice cracked. He says my father sacrificed my mother to that thing. Michael glared at the ally. Who the hell is this? The man's eyes stayed calm. Someone who tells truths you don't want to hear. Michael sneered, shaking his head. He's filling you with stories. You're losing it, Adam. The words struck deep, doubt gnawing at him again. Michael grabbed Adam's arm, pulling him aside. Don't you see? He's manipulating you. There's no monster. Adam shook his head, voice strained. I've heard it, seen it. Michael's tone grew desperate. It's in your mind, man. Trauma, not ghosts. The Allah's voice cut in coldly. Keep denying it. That's what feeds it. Michael spun, fury flashing. Shut up. You're twisting him. Adam's chest burned, torn between their words, his mind spiraling. He whispered, I don't know who to believe. The walls groaned, glass rattled, the wood's voice whispering faintly through cracks. It spoke his name, making choice impossible. The whisper grew louder, crawling across the walls. Adam clutched his head, shouting, Stop! Both men froze, silence crushing after his outburst. Michael stepped back, fear flickering in his eyes for the first time. The ally whispered, It's inside already. Adam's gaze darted between them, heart racing. He felt betrayal on both sides, his trust shattered. Michael whispered, You're scaring me, man. The Allah's voice was firm. He's marked, you can't save him. Adam's scream tore through the room. Both of you shut up. His body shook violently, and from the corner of the room, a shadow stretched across the floor, moving on its own. The shadow in the corner stretched wider, swallowing light until the lamp flickered out. Adam's chest heaved as darkness thickened, alive and suffocating. Michael stumbled back, whispering, This isn't real. The Allah's voice cut sharp. It's here. The floorboards groaned, weight pressing from nowhere. Adam shouted, Show yourself. The room quivered, glass cracking in the windows. A guttural growl rumbled through the walls, shaking dust loose from the ceiling. Michael bolted for the door, but it slammed shut on its own, rattling violently. Adam's pulse thundered. His voice cracked as he muttered, "It doesn't want the house. It wants me." The darkness pulsed, forming into something grotesque, limbs too long, eyes pale and unblinking. Adam staggered back, his breath ragged. Michael screamed, pressing against the locked door. The ally whispered, "It's tied to you. You must face it." Adam's voice cracked. "How do I fight something that isn't human?" The monster's head tilted, mouth opening wider than natural, whispering his name with a voice like shattered glass. Adam fell to his knees, covering his ears. Michael pounded the door, shouting, "Open!" The ally stepped closer, voice commanding, "Stand, Adam, or it will take you like it took her." Adam forced himself up, legs trembling. "Ow. Hey," he shouted, "you took my mother." The monster's shape lurched forward, shadows dragging across the floor like claws. The owl's voice echoed, "It feeds on fear. Don't give it what it craves." Adam's heart thundered, but fury burned hotter than dread. He shouted again, "You don't own me!" The creature hissed, its body twisting, pale eyes glowing brighter. Michael sobbed, pounding the door uselessly. The room warped, walls bending inward as though reality buckled around them. Adam clenched his fists, voice shaking but defiant. "If it wants me, it's going to fight for me." The monster surged, slamming against Adam with invisible force, hurling him into the wall. His body cracked against plaster, but he pushed back up, blood dripping from his lip. Michael screamed, "Stop fighting it." The owl's voice cut through the chaos. "No, this is the only way." Adam staggered forward, chest heaving. He shouted, "If you want me, take me, but I won't run." The monster paused, its form shifting, faces flickering in its body. His mother, strangers, all victims. Adam's eyes filled with tears, fury and sorrow colliding. "You won't take anyone else," he growled, stepping into the darkness. Adam plunged into the shadow, consumed by cold that felt like knives under his skin. The monster's voice roared inside his head, screaming his name over and over. His vision blurred, faces of the dead flashing before him. He shouted, "I'm not yours." The darkness writhed, twisting violently, shaking the house. Michael collapsed to the floor, covering his ears, sobbing. The ally whispered, almost reverent, "He's fighting it." Adam forced every ounce of strength, clawing back light in his mind. His scream split the air, defiant and raw. For a moment, the monster faltered, its pale eyes dimming, its form flickering weak. The darkness shattered with a violent snap, the monster's form collapsing into fragments of shadow. Adam fell to the floor, chest heaving, sweat and blood streaking his face. Michael crawled toward him, voice trembling. "You did it. It's gone." Adam shook his head weakly, whispering, "No, it's never gone." The ally stood still, his gaze fixed on the trembling walls. He said, "You weakened it, but you didn't destroy it. You never can." Adam's breath rattled as his eyes filled with tears. He whispered, "Then what was the point?" The silence that followed pressed heavier than the fight itself. Michael gripped Adam's shoulder, pleading, "We need to get out of here." Adam stared at the ceiling, voice hoarse. "It won't matter. It knows me now." Michael's face twisted with fear. "Don't say that." The owl's tone was cold, final. "He's marked. The woods never release their chosen." Adam forced himself to sit, his body trembling. He muttered, "I don't want this. I didn't choose this." The house groaned, glass splintering in the window frames, as if the forest pressed against the walls once more. The ally whispered, "You inherited the curse the moment you were born." Adam staggered to his feet, swaying as though his body no longer belonged to him. He walked to the window, staring out at the woods where mist curled low and silver under the moon. He whispered, "It's waiting for me." Michael cried out, "No, you can fight it." Adam's voice broke, low and tired. "I can't fight what's inside me." The ally stepped closer, his voice heavy. Your father delayed it, but he never stopped it. That's your fate now. Adam's reflection in the window shifted faintly, his eyes glowing pale for a heartbeat before returning to normal. His breath caught. Michael shouted, "You're not cursed, you're still you." Adam shook his head, stepping back from the glass. His voice cracked. "You don't understand. It's already inside me." The owl's eyes dropped, his silence confirming the truth. Adam clutched his chest, trembling as though the monster's shadow coiled beneath his skin. "I can feel it," he whispered. Michael reached for him, but Adam jerked away. "Stay back." His face twisted with despair. The house groaned again, walls darkening as though shadows bled into them. The ally muttered, "The more you resist, the stronger it becomes." Adam's tears fell, each drop heavy with inevitability. The house fell silent, an oppressive quiet swallowing every sound. Adam's breathing slowed as he lifted his gaze, eyes shimmering faintly in the dark. He whispered, "It won't stop. Not until I'm gone." Michael shook his head furiously. "Don't say that." Adam gave a broken smile. "It's not me talking." The lights flickered out, plunging them into black. In the silence, the monster's voice whispered, layered with Adam's own, "Forever." Michael screamed his name, but it was swallowed by the dark. When the light returned, Adam stood still, eyes pale, face empty. The woods had taken him, and the curse had only just begun.